What's going on YouTube? JT's Reborn here and welcome to another edition of my DC comic book reviews, and in today's video we'll be talking about Teen Titans issue number 34. That's right, we finally found out who the traitor is, and based on these covers you may think it's Crush. You may be like, okay, it's got to be her, based on this cover because the whole team is here and they're going to be fighting her. I mean, that's what the issue's teasing me with this cover, right? Wrong. She's not the traitor, but somebody on the team is, and we're going to find out in just a second. It's going to be fun to dive in. I think it's honestly, before we get into that, I will say who they revealed to be the traitor is actually probably the smartest idea that this book's had in a while. I'm like, okay, you actually did something really good and interesting with this particular character. And I think I pretty much just gave it away right there based on people who've seen my previous videos know who this character is, but we'll get into it in a second. But go ahead, we'll do what we normally do. We'll read the issue info. Who is crazy enough to steal a Djinn's ring? Well, do you one better. How much damage you can do with a stolen Djinn ring? Robin and the Teen Titans hunt the thief of magic, but are they looking in the wrong place? The year the villain strikes close to home, and a major turning point in the Teen Titans status quo starts here. Yeah, I guess we're finally going to get down to who the true villain of this whole group is, who the traitor is, and we'll see how it all plays out from there. I have some theories, too, as to why this person may have done what they've done. I mean, it's a potential theory, but we'll see how it turns out. But anyways, so the issue starts out, you see the whole change of pace thing. Damien's happy. He's having a good time. He's like, well, things kind of got fucked up there, but you know what? The prison thing, okay, that's done. Everybody, Wallace calls him out. He's like, well, they seem happy and they're not hurting anyone. But it seems to have some good results. I mean, they're not doing these terrible things. Like, we almost got killed by Lobo. We had Deathstroke just die. Your prison thing, Red Arrow just quit, and Djinn hates you. I mean, obviously, you see Damien's expression change right there, and he's just like, whatever, I don't care. I was kind of hoping and disappointed a bit with this issue in that regards, because that was kind of a big revelation in the last issue, was them dealing with the new change of pace that they're doing. So instead of putting people in this prison and kind of keeping them locked up there, they're basically changing their minds altogether so that they're functioning members of society and they're not committing horrible crimes, which is an interesting idea. And you wonder, like, okay, so if these people are going to kill and do horrible things for the rest of their life and we're not going to kill them, is this really right? Is this really the heroic thing to do? I mean, it's getting the results done, but I mean, you're taking away someone's free will, and that's kind of a big deal. You're taking away who they are. You're basically forcing them to do this life that's not theirs. So it's an interesting morality thing. I mean, you're doing it for the greater good, but then again, it still seems kind of shady there too. So there's that nice gray area, and I was kind of looking forward to seeing how the rest of the team dives into that. Like, what do all the other teammates think of this whole thing? Like, let's really dive into the characters and figure out, like, is this just going to be a morality thing that's going to affect the whole team? How does this affect Roundhouse? How does this affect Djinn? How does this affect Crusher? Emiko? We kind of got that tease, but she doesn't really, show up in this issue till the very end. And I was looking forward to seeing that. But as soon as that's about to happen, which has kind of been an issue a lot with this run, too, is, there's a lot of different, plot threads going on. And I'm like, okay, we're going to finally dive into something. Then it kind of pushes that off and goes into something else and makes you wonder, are we just going to forget about that? Like, remember when Red Arrow fired at Deathstroke? I figured in the several issues we're going to finally get down to the reasoning why she did what she did. But they pushed it off and, kind of brought another plot line into place. Or another time, when after the whole Deathstroke thing went down, I was like, okay, the team's going to argue. We're going to have this out. And they're going to actually, maybe talk and converse with one another and see where the status quo is going to go from there. Nope, Lobo comes in, just kind of messes that up, and they're kind of forced to team back together. Again, this team is very messy. They're kind of just, they're not really friends. You can, I mean, I guess the only two that are friends are Damien and Emiko. Well, Kid Flash and I guess Roundhouse, but they're not there's not a very close friendship amongst the teammates. Not like there was in the previous run or just, previous iterations of the Teen Titans. They're just people who kind of work together, and they just don't really like each other. The whole team pretty much hates Damien. And I feel like that really, I mean, why would you want to, work under him at this point? And, why is this team still a team? I mean, considering what the previous team went through, at the start of Rebirth, I'm like, that team was much more cohesive. They worked better as a unit. And Damien's character, I'm just kind of wondering at the point where he finally evolves at this point. Because a lot of this just seems kind of like regression too. I know I've mentioned that earlier on, but it's is he just going to just keep going back and forth. Like, I feel like he should have made some serious progress. Like, he should be like a good, well-respected leader at this point. It's been 34 issues since he started his own Teen Titans team, and that's not including crossovers and that, and he's still not like this well-respected, well-liked leader who's really kind of grown much from the first thing. It's just like he's just trying different tactics to see what sticks. There's no sense of friendship amongst these people like there should be. I was just kind of hoping by this point he would be like more of a well-rounded leader, but maybe it's just not going to happen. Maybe he needs somebody in there to kind of show him what to do. Maybe Dick Grayson, who isn't Rick Grayson, which, off topic. I'm so tired of that Nightwing run. I just wanted, like, when is he going to stop being Rick Grayson? It's just not right. But anyway, so I was kind of hoping to do some more stuff with that in regards to, some more character progression at this point with Damian, but we're not seeing him go forward all that much like I would hoped he would. Wallace is still kind of doing his thing, just nodding around, arguing every now and then. And as soon as we can get, and like I was saying earlier, as soon as we're going to find out, like, okay, what the whole team thinks of this whole situation with the prisoner thing, Djinn comes in. Apparently her ring has been stolen. Where is it? Somebody stole my ring. And as we all know, like, the whole, like, ring, she basically, like, gets commanded because she's a Djinn, a genie. So then Crush runs in there because, she has feelings for him. Damian's there, trying to comfort her. Obviously, Djinn is pissed off at him, has, like, doesn't want anything to do with him, considers him cruel and all sorts of things, which is understandable because Damian's done some really shady stuff in this run. I mean, I felt like he was really kind of progressing in Super Sons, and then they had the Teen Titans special and Justice League No Justice, which I still say to this day broke the DC universe. Basically, from that point onward, there's been kind of a drop-off in quality in a lot of the stuff. I think that's pretty much where they kind of just dropped the whole Rebirth thing altogether. Because if you look at, like, Doomsday Clock and that, like, all the events and setup and that, they're pretty much just kind of shoving that stuff aside and just not really going along with it anymore. I mean, look what they did with the Superman books. It's like the reason Jor-El came back and all that stuff, they kind of just, like, pushed it aside. They're really moving away from that whole Rebirth direction, going in God knows what at this point. Just whatever. But anyway, so the team's kind of comforting each other. Damian's kind of comforting her. Then they have, like, this whole interrogation thing. Crush is freaking out. Like, she says, oh, you did this. And Damian's like, okay, let's put this thing on lockdown. So then Damian decides to go ahead and interrogate people. Like, he was aware that there was a mole on the team. Crush and Djinn are having their issues with each other. Djinn's just like, how dare you? Crush was like, I kissed you. It was a big deal to me. And Djinn's like, how dare you? Like, blah, 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 blah. Like, this is not the time for this shit. It tells me quite a lot about you. That shows what you're concerned with, as opposed to just being concerned with me. And then Damian comes in there because, like I said, there was that whole love triangle shtick going on between him, her, and her. And it turns out Damian actually did see that these two had a kissing moment together, which is just being brought up now. I can't remember how long ago that issue was, but I don't know what kind of toll it took on him, or if he's just super angry about it, like if it kind of hurt him internally, like watching that, because he wanted to do it. But we'll kind of see where it goes from here. Then he goes ahead and confronts Roundhouse, talking about the whole thing. Roundhouse is talking about the Reed technique, which is an interrogation thing, so showing a bit of signs of intelligence. Now, I've gone on record saying that Roundhouse is by far my least favorite of the new Teen Titans. I think he's really annoying with a lot of his dialogue. Maybe once in a while I'll have a funny line, but for the most part I'm just like, oh god, this guy just, like, he's whatever. But yeah, so Damian's just being his thing, he's confronting everybody, and then he's just like, you do care about Djinn, I know that. And Damian's like, it's emerging, it's not about that. And he's talking about his insecurities and all sorts of things. Damian, of course, goes and then he talks to Djinn. Djinn thinks it's just all a ploy that he could be doing just to win her back, because I guess apparently they were in a relationship. I don't know. It's just so weird because, like, she was so head over heels for him earlier on, and then she saw him for what he truly was, and then she pretty much passionately, like, hates him right now for the whole prison thing. And he was like, hey, I had to do these things. Like, no, you're not right. You did these terrible things. You're a sick person. I never want to be near you again. For now, because I'm sure she'll come back around to him or something like that, because that's the way the shit always goes, unless they do something different, which I would commend him for. Then he confronts Wally, about the whole situation, or Wallace, because Wally West is different. God, they did bastardize Wally West too. I almost completely forgot about the Heroes in Crisis thing. Man, what is going on? It's like they had. I was kind of hoping they go in a more positive direction, but the universe obviously went back to that more dark and gritty stuff, which I don't mind dark and gritty for a lot of things, but I just kind of wish I had this more excitement with a lot more of the titles. But obviously I have fun reading this one. Then we get a good moment with Emiko. She's trying to call Ollie, and then she decides not to leave a voicemail. She's talking about, like, how do I do this hero thing? Thank you for doing this stuff. She's trying to get that connection back. And I remember reading in, I think it was like Justice League, the current Justice League book. I saw her and Damian kind of cameo in it, and I saw even like Ollie and Dinah in the same thing. I'm like, is that set after this whole storyline, or is that set before it? Because they're all in the same room. Like, there's a shot of them all together, like a panel of them all together, but they don't interact from that point onward. I really don't know what the continuity at DC is anymore. You have Tom King's Batman run, which makes no sense, with a lot of its stuff all over the place. Continuity, the Justice League book's kind of over here, this book's over here, Superman's kind of over here. I just don't know what the continuity is anymore. I felt like I used to know where everything was at in the timeline wise, but I really don't know anymore. I'm like, is Doomsday Clock even canon anymore? Did they just kind of forget about that? Or what are they doing with that? What are they doing with this? What are they doing with that? I can't figure out what's canon anymore. Because so many characters are written differently in different books. Like Damian in this book compared to Detective Comics, written very differently. Granted, it's a different author. Like Tomasi writes, in my opinion, the best Damian. He writes him very differently than Damian in this book. Like, he actually takes into effect all the progression that he had through Super Sons and his run on Batman and Robin, which was really solid. But now we got this, completely different, blah, 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 blah. So anyways, Emiko's doing her thing. I know I'm going summary by summary, but, I just want to talk about, a lot of things as I go through the issue. Then we find out who's there. It's Djinn. So you're thinking, oh, Djinn is the traitor. She's the one doing all these terrible things. Then she goes and fights Emiko. Emiko gets basically pushed out a window. We don't see where she lands or anything. Maybe she found a way out. Maybe somebody came to rescue her. I don't exactly know what happened. Maybe she's going to be hurt in the next issue. Maybe Damian's going to go and talk to her after confronting the whole team to figure out what's wrong. And maybe he discovers her. Maybe something comes to that. I don't know, because we still don't know the exact reason why she shot Deathstroke in the first place. I feel like it has to do with him trying to save Damian's humanity, but that's the only explanation I can think of why she did what she did. So, yeah, but Djinn's there, and then we finally get the moment, it's nice work. And then we get the reveal of who the traitor is. And it's Roundhouse. And I'm like, yes, I'm like, thank God. It's like there's that fan theory that went out there, that Jar Jar Binks was secretly a Sith Lord. Roundhouse has been the Jar Jar Binks of this thing, and having him reveal that he's a Sith Lord, and having the way to save this character instantly got more interesting, because I'm like, oh my God, has he been doing this stupid, obnoxious thing as a shtick the whole time, and then we get to see that he's actually a master manipulator? I'd be all for that. I'm like, okay, so he was written like this intentionally the whole time, just so when he got to the twist that he was doing this, and he's putting on an act the whole way, that would be exciting to me. That to me, I'm like, okay, I really like this. I like this angle that they're going with. Look at the art right here. Just look at that evil, smug expression on his face. He looks like fucking Ursula the Sea Witch. Look at that. Look at that face. He looks like Ursula the Sea Witch, just with his bowl cut and glasses and that smirk he's giving. I'm like, okay, I'm all in for this. I'm all in for him being the villain. I think that's in all honesty, I was kind of hoping. I think I mentioned it beforehand. I thought it would have been cool to see him be the villain at some point. If he was the traitor, I think that would be the one thing to make his character more interesting. I'm like, okay, now I'm interested. Now I'm intrigued. Why did he do what he did? Because I remember we saw earlier when we found out how he escaped. He saw his sister, and then he went back home. Now, I have a couple theories as to why he would do this, or maybe just one. For one, maybe he's working in cahoots with the other. Another potential theory I have is that this is actually the other, disguised as Roundhouse, using Roundhouse as a disguise, because Djinn has shown that she has her own powers and they can change people's appearance. Maybe this is her brother Elias, who I think is the other, because you can't really have anybody else be the other than Elias, because you've not set anybody else up. So that's the most likely scenario for the whole thing. And yeah, so this could be like Jinn's brother in disguise as Roundhouse. I think like when he got pushed out into space, he could have came back as that, or he could have his own sick, evil motivations for the whole thing. I don't exactly know what's going on with that, but there you go. He is the traitor. Best thing to happen with this character, because like I said before, Roundhouse was my least favorite character of the new Teen Titans. I've often said I found him to be quite annoying, but if the truth is he was acting annoying on purpose, just so he could, like, as an act, so that so that they wouldn't expect it, because that's the thing. They're just like, okay, I'm the last person you'd expect because I put on an act the whole time. We Kaiser Sosate everybody. I'm like, okay, good. You actually made that reveal nice. I mean, that to me is more interesting than anybody else being the so-called traitor. I think that's great. I'm a real big fan of that decision. I'm like, okay, you made Roundhouse the traitor. I think that's a really, really good idea. We'll see where they go over it. I would like to see him be this master manipulative villain. See him, perhaps he's been working in cahoots with the other. But other things too, it just makes me wonder, like, why didn't he take the team down on several occasions? Why didn't he just let the bomb kill them all? I don't know. Why does the other do what the other does? I found out that in December we're going to find out who the other is. So in like the next month or two, we're actually going to meet them, which I'm like, thank God, because this whole other storyline has been going on for so long. It's been going on for over a year, and we have not really seen their motivations fleshed out in any regards. We haven't really seen them. They've just been stuck in the shadows. We've had several other like kind of random plot lines, put together, throughout, like just kind of little mini story arcs. But I just want to see who the other is. I'm just kind of waiting for this whole thing to come together. And I wonder, do they have any big plans after the other storyline? Or is this going to be one of those things where the other storyline is going to drag on for like all of next year? It's going to be like 20 plus issues. I don't know. We'll just have to kind of wait and see what happens for it. But overall consensus, great things about this issue. The artwork, I think Bernard Chang did a great job. Like, for the most part, he's done some good jobs. Sometimes I have issues with the way he draws Damien's face and his lips and that. But, like, for the other characters like Djinn, the way he's able to implement the different lighting effects with her genie powers, the way her tattoos light up and that, the way they glow, the way it's kind of, like, mixed together with the background, or he doesn't do the colors, but he does the artwork. The way everything's kind of colored together like that, I think it really pops. I think it looks really good. Really convey the emotion with some of the characters there too. So I think a lot of the artwork is really solid. I do have issues with Wallace's pants though. Like, why are these things so freaking high? They're like up to his chest right here. It's like he just it's like he's going Urkel and is like, he pulls his pants up like this high. So they look kind of fludgy. I don't know. It's just one of those things. And yeah, the artwork's good. Like I said, I still would like to know some things that we have, some questions that are still ambiguous that we still have not had answered. I wish they would dive into things a little bit more, like some of these serious issues, like the team brainwashing criminals into turning them into good guys. I would like to see that fleshed out a bit more instead of going right into this next storyline, kind of brushing it over. Because, like I said, there's a lot of plot lines going on throughout this whole run, and I just want to see those develop just a little bit more. Maybe we're going to get in the next issue. We'll see. If they don't really do it, I'm going to kind of be disappointed, because now we have Roundhouse coming in here, taking down the team. Like, I'm the traitor. So, yeah, all those theories going on for months. I guess, I don't know if I thought of Roundhouse as... I'm pretty sure I've gone into, like, reasonings for each person, why they would do what they did, and past videos. I don't know. I haven't watched those in a while. But anyways, I'm just kind of rambling on at this point. But overall consensus, I still enjoyed the issue. I guess Lobo's coming back in the next one, and it's tying into Year of the Villain again. I'm actually excited for this Year of the Villain thing to end already. I feel like it's just kind of taking over all these different books, especially when they don't necessarily need it. But there's still some really good stuff in this book here in particular. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else I can say. But why do you think Roundhouse is the traitor? Why do you think the reason behind it? I know his sister passed away. Maybe he was promised something, or maybe it's not the real Roundhouse. Maybe the real Roundhouse has been replaced, and we've had somebody else doing this. But then again, they've already said that they had a traitor a long time ago. Was it before or after Roundhouse did his thing? I don't know. I'm very unsure. But also, that also raises some more interesting questions. Like, think about this. Roundhouse now has access to Batman and all this stuff because when they went to the Batcave, I'm sure he was stealing information. There's just so many things you could do with this character now. I want to see them become this, like, criminal mastermind. And if he's going to be revealed to be the traitor to the whole team, that'll leave the door open for other new members to join the Teen Titans. Jonathan Kent's Superboy. Why is he not on this team yet? Maya Ducard, why is she not on this team? Yeah, I know she could fit like a similar role with these two, but I mean, it's Maya Ducard. She was a pretty cool character, and so there were several books that she showed up. She could still be helpful. I mean, I still don't get why. I mean, still things I have issues with. I still don't understand why this team is a team at this point. They should all just disband. I mean, this has not been a very good relationship with these people. The previous team got along better. I mean, mostly because Damian and Kid Flash were kind of the newbies to the team, but they at least had some guidance with Starfire, Raven, Beast Boy, Aqualad. Where the hell is Aqualad? Where has he been? We never found out why he left the team, at least in this book. Maybe it's in Aquaman. I don't know. I haven't read it, but yeah, you know what I'd like to see too? I'd like to see this team interact with the previous Teen Titans team. Are they ever going to do that? I mean, they were a team for a long time, and then it just got rebooted, basically. And just like, okay, New Justice comes in. New teams. Why can't we see this team interact with the previous team? Hopefully that'll be after this next big arc with the other, because I really want to see that. I really, really do. But we'll see. I'm pretty sure DC is going to kind of like do some new number ones, and after they hit 100 with a lot of these different books. I know Deathstroke is ending at issue 50, so they're going to have to do some relaunches next year. So perhaps a new Titans team. Perhaps this book keeps going, perhaps it doesn't. I really don't know. There's a lot of unanswered questions with DC Comics right now that have a lot of people intrigued and worried about like the future of the company. So we'll see what happens there. But anyways, I know I've rambled on long enough, but I want to thank you all for watching this video. There's definitely some solid stuff in this one. Didn't downright hate this issue. I still have my grievances here and there, but for the most part I thought it was executed fine, but I just wish they would have taken some time to kind of dive into more of the brainwashing plot a bit more instead of just kind of throwing in, oh, the traitor thing right now. I'm just like, do we really need that right now? Can't we just push that back one more issue? I know it kind of... I think the issue, too, is it's just like the once-a-month thing. It just feels like this is taking really, really long to go through. So it's a real long wait. And I understand this is a single-month issue thing, and like certain books run twice a month, but I just want to get through this plot a little bit faster. I'm getting kind of impatient at this point because I've been doing these videos for a long time at this point, and I just want to just move this along a little faster. But at the same time, I'm also complaining about my complaints because I said I wanted them to slow down at this part and actually dive into this angle a bit more with the brainwashing. But at the same time, I just want to get to the other already because it's been going on for so long. So I wish the book was bi-monthly. Yeah, that would be good, but sadly it's not the case. But anyways, rambled on long enough. I guess go check this book out. I know I gave away like the whole thing, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Some people will at least. Some people don't like this version of the Teen Titans. I've grown to like a lot of it and dislike some bits, but you know, I've had fun covering this too. It's like the first time I really started doing comic book reviews on this channel. And, you know, they're not the best. They're not always fully written, but it's fun to sometimes do them raw and just kind of get all my thoughts out, you know, right then and right here and there as we kind of go through the issue together and talk about certain things and so on and so forth. But anyways, what are your thoughts on this issue? What do you think of Roundhouse being the villain of the whole thing, being the traitor? Or what do you want to see happen with this team? I really want to see John Kent join this team. I think that would be pretty cool. I want to see some other Titans kind of join this thing too. Some new characters. That'd be nice. I still think... Why is John Kent not on the Teen Titans? Why? Like, why is he not on this team yet? He's a teenager now. Why on earth would he go on the Legion of Superheroes instead of joining this team? I guess we're going to find out in Superman books next month. And another thing too, I'm like... If you were just kind of off topic for a second, but I was reading the Superman stuff, at least the Superman book, not the Action Comics book, and the Legion of Superhero comes in, they invite him to go join the team in the future. Now, if you're Clark Kent, your son went off with you let your son go off with your father, Jor-El. He ages 7 years. Why on earth would you let your son go off with a bunch of complete strangers to the future? It doesn't make sense for me. So, The best move, I would hope, is for John to join Damien's team. I don't know if Damien will even offer him a chance on his team, but I would really like to see that. So hopefully that's the case. But anyways, I rambled on long enough. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Hit the bell for notifications. Comment, like, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on this issue down below. The whole traitor thing. What do you want to see with DC Comics? What do you want to see with Teen Titans? Blah, 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 blah. You get the point. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all next time. And, Teen Titans. We're almost to the other. We're going to finally fucking meet them at some point. So, yeah. Alright. Take care now. Bye-bye then.